So to start off the conversation beyond the introductions, I want to do a quick word association exercise with you, okay? I'm going to mention a person, and I want to hear the first thing that comes to mind when you hear that person's name. So don't overthink it, okay? I'm going to call on you because I don't want you blurting it out. We'll go in just sort of random order here, and I'll do it one at a time, okay? So again, don't blurt it out. The first thing that comes to mind when you hear President Biden, what's the first word or image that comes to mind for you when you think of President Biden? You all have one in mind?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great. All right, fine. Kathy, go first.
Traitor.
Trader like Traitor?
Yes.
Not trader like stock trader.
No.
Okay, just want to make sure I got it right. All right, Olivia.
Silence.
So nothing comes to mind?
Silence.
Silence.
Yeah, not loud. Silence.
So you think of him, you associate him with silence.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Susan.
Old thinking.
Okay. Stacy.
A joke.
All right. Amy
Old.
and Mary Beth.
Incompetent.
Got it. Okay. Next person I want to ask you about, I'll call on you again. Former President Trump. Everybody got one? All right. Stacy, go first.
Businessman.
Mary Beth.
Arrogant.
Olivia.
Loud.
Susan.
Forward thinking.
Amy
Rude.
and Kathy.
Planner.
You said
Plan
plan
ahead.
Plan ahead.
Yeah,
Okay.
plan ahead.
Got it. Okay. Next person. Former Ambassador Nikki Haley. Everybody got a word association with her? You do? Okay, great. Olivia, why don't you go first?
Say brave, hardworking.
Hardworking, okay. Amy,
Warmongering.
Mary
Mm,
Beth,
Young.
Kathy,
Clueless.
Stacy,
Fake.
Susan,
Scapegoat.
scapegoat.
Yes.
Okay. Meaning what exactly, just so I understand?
Meaning that they set her up to say things. Sometimes the other politicians set her up to say and do things.
So someone makes her a scapegoat.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. So I make sure she wasn't something else. Great. And the fourth person I want to ask you about is Vice President Kamala Harris. Everybody got a word in mind for her? Okay. Amy, why don't you go first?
Idiot.
Kathy,
Incompetent.
Mary Beth,
Incompetent. She took my word.
all right. Olivia,
I'd say decoration.
decoration.
Just there. No particular purpose.
Got it. Okay. Stacy
Dumb.
and Susan.
Ineffective.
Got it. So let me ask all seven of you the next question. By a show of fingers, who would say that on most days you pay close attention to the 2024 election? On most days you pay close attention. So I've got 5 of you by a show of fingers. Okay. So the most likely election scenario at this point is that Biden is running against Trump again in November's election. For a moment, let's imagine that the election is tomorrow. By a show of fingers, how many of you would take Trump? 6 of the 7. Okay, so all but Mary Beth. Susan, why would you take former President Trump back?
I think that he got stopped in incorporating some of his platform in the past, and this gives him a second chance or third chance maybe to put into motion some of his policies.
Thank you. Amy, why would you take former President Trump back?
Because when he was president, everything was cheaper. That's my biggest thing.
Olivia, why would you want former President Trump back?
He had a lot of action, so a lot of the country's enemies know that Trump was up for war at any time. So security was there.
Other reasons than the ones already mentioned for why you would want former President Trump back? For the three other.
Just to reinstate the policies that he had in place that Biden had removed, such as the border crisis, the oil releasing of our reserves. So just the policies that were reversed by Biden, hopefully it'll go back to the way it was when Trump was president.
Okay, thank you.
He's not afraid to be politically incorrect, to say what he wants to say. And I admire that about him. Even though he makes stupid statements sometimes, I still admire that he is man enough to speak what he means.
Got it.
Yeah,
Thank you. So Mary Beth, you're staying a little bit outside the consensus of this group.
Yep.
So let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Are there any plausible scenarios under which you would take Donald Trump back?
Nope.
None. So
Well,
nothing-
No. I mean, I think Trump and Biden are both horrible,
Yeah.
candidates, and, I think our country deserves better.
Okay, got it. So let me ask you about another scenario. By a show of fingers, who would take Nikki Haley over President Biden if they were running against each other in November and Trump were not part of the picture at that point? Who would take Nikki Haley over President Biden? Just three of you. I got Stacy, Heidi, and Mary Beth. Okay. So I want to give you one other scenario. Imagine the election is tomorrow, and it's these 5 candidates that you can vote for in Pennsylvania. Cindy, put them up on the screen. Please don't say anything. I want to know who you would take under this scenario. So it's Biden, Trump, Robert Kennedy Jr., Cornel West, and Jill Stein. Those are your 5 choices, hypothetically, and the election is tomorrow. Okay? So I want to get a sense of who you would take under this scenario. Don't overthink it. Just tell me who, going into the booth, who you take. So I'm going to ask you for a show of fingers on each one. In this scenario, how many of you would take President Biden? Show of fingers. None of you. Okay. How many of you would take former President Trump? 5. Okay. How many of you would take Kennedy?
I like Kennedy.
Amy would. Okay.
Yeah.
So that, and then I still got one more, right?
2 more.
I got 5 for Trump, none for Biden, and 1 for Kennedy. Who's the last one?
Me,
Mary, who'd you take?
I'm a maverick in the group. I'm really not that versed in the politics of Kennedy or West or Stein. So, the only one who I would know a little bit about is Kennedy. I really am not familiar with the other 2. So I would have to say Kennedy over everybody else, even though I'm not versed in everyone that's on the panel.
Okay. So, but you're given your prior comments, you're so unhappy with Biden and Trump that those 2 are definitely out.
Correct.
Okay, got it. You can take it off the screen, Cindy. Of the 7 of you, are any of you seriously considering not voting in November?
Nope.
So Mary Beth, you would seriously consider not voting?
I'm the maverick, I guess.
All right. And why not?
I just think both candidates are terrible. I mean, I guess if I was forced to, I would have to vote for Trump, but I would prefer not to.
Okay,
I'm not really for him. I would just be voting more party.
okay. If you had to guess, what do you think you're gonna do in November if you see those 5 people on the ballot?
Ugh. If there's the other candidates
Yeah,
other
all
than
5 of
Trump,
those- all 5 of those are up there. You go to,
okay. I would then become more versed in what their political stance is. And then
Okay.
I would, because I really don't know the other 3.
okay, got it. So Pennsylvania is known as a swing state or a purple state. By a show of fingers, who knows what that means?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Sure, Pennsylvania is known as a swing state or a
Mhm.
purple state. By a show of fingers, who knows what that means? So raise your fingers again, just to have a, I
Think
got-
I do.
you think it's like 5 of you. What does it mean, Heidi?
Well, that we're a swing vote, our state could go either way. Although Pennsylvania is more Democratic, but, I believe that, the vote could go either for either the Democrat or the Republican. So the race in Pennsylvania is gonna be closely looked at.
Got it. Okay. For the other 4 of you who raise your fingers, same reason?
Yes.
Got it. All right. So for the 5 of you who raise your finger about that, does knowing Pennsylvania is a swing state cause you to take the act of voting for president more seriously than if you lived in a non-swing state? Show of
Yeah.
fingers among the 5 of you.
No.
Okay. No, so for 4 out of the 5, yes. So Mary Beth, I'm going to set you aside on this question just because you're not likely to vote for Trump this year. But I want to ask the
No.
other 6 of you the question. Who would you like for the other 6 of you? So please, not, I don't mean to offend you. I just want to make sure I'm
Yeah.
focusing on the people who really would like Trump. Who would you like former President Trump to pick as his running mate?
Oh,
I know, but I can't think of his name.
Describe him or her.
Vivek Ramaswamy?
Swami. Okay.
Is that okay? Yes.
Okay.
Hannity,
Who?
Hannity,
Sean Hannity.
yep, or Mark Levin.
Okay. Got it. Kathy, you smiled when I asked this question. Who do you have in mind? You sound like you got one.
Oh, Ron DeSantis or Ted Cruz?
Okay. Any others?
Jim Jordan.
Okay.
But
Olivia?
he'll-
I can't think of any because I feel he's in a better position. He knows his people.
Okay. Amy, anybody?
I like Tulsi Gabbard.
Tulsi Gabbard?
Yes.
Okay. Let me ask you this. How many of you would be unhappy if he chose Nikki Haley? Unhappy. 2 of you would be unhappy. Okay. By a show of fingers and without saying anything, who could name at least one thing President Biden has achieved while in office? Now, Lily, I want to be very careful in the way I ask this, okay, where you answer this. I'm not looking at snarky answers of like things that he got wrong that you would think are like a quote achievements. I'm looking for things that he would call an achievement. Okay. So just I want to be clear about what I'm asking for here. Okay. So just everybody thinking for a second. I know Heidi, you got one. I'm going to call on you in a second. Anybody else? So only one of you can name it. 2. Mary Beth, you've got an achievement. Amy, 3. Okay, so 3 of you. Heidi, go first. What achievement has Biden done in the last 3 years?
He cut off Iran and the trade with them, and he put sanctions on them. Whereas Biden gave Iran our money and
No,
then.
no, I'm sorry. I'm talking about Biden's achievements in the last 3 years.
Oh,
not Trump.
Biden's achievement.
Biden's achievements, not Trump's. Biden's
Oh.
achievement.
I think that the SAVE program for the college kids, it's a repayment. That SAVE program that he put into effect, I like that. It pertains to my family because my daughter just graduated college and she joined that. So, it's income driven and he put that into place. So I did like that.
Got it. Okay. Amy, what was yours?
The economy is improving. I think like it's like 3% interest rates or something. So it's coming down. So it's not like nothing.
Got it. And Mary Beth?
I actually thought you said an achievement of Trump rather than Biden.
All right. If I said Trump by accident, I apologize. I meant President Biden.
Yeah. Okay.
So I have only two of you with to name an achievement of President Biden's.
Mhm.
Okay, got it. By a show of fingers, who agrees with the following statement? If President Biden is declared the winner of the election in November, it means the election was somehow rigged. So for four of you, it's rigged. If Biden's declared the winner, no matter how it happens, you still think it's rigged. Okay, got it. Let me ask you this. If it turned out to be, I wouldn't say a blowout, but a very decisive victory on the part of Biden, again, just hypothetically, would you still think it was rigged? All four of you still would. Okay. Stacey, tell me why.
I had this feeling since the last election. I guess I just haven't gotten over it. I guess because the mail-in ballots have been a fiasco in our area. I know people's ballots that were mailed in where people did not send them in, that they were sent in somehow, and when they went to vote, they couldn't vote. So I feel like it's still rigged. I feel like the system is not an accurate one.
Okay. Anybody have a different reason why you think it would be rigged? Different from what Stacey said.
I
Olivia?
think we've seen a lot or enough of Biden, and I believe people would like to give Trump another try.
Okay. So if it just so happens that more people vote for Biden in terms of the tally, would you just automatically think it's definitely rigged? Olivia?
Sorry, could you repeat?
So if the official tally that comes out from the various states says it's a decisive win for Biden,
Mhm.
there's, in your mind, there's no clear way that that Biden could have won, that it was somehow rigged against Trump and that
Yes.
Trump was the actual winner.
Yes.
Okay, got it. All right, so let's talk about the Republican primary season that's going on. Just started a few weeks ago. As you may have heard, former President Trump won both the Iowa caucuses and the New Hampshire primary. The only other candidate remaining in the Republican primary race is Nikki Haley, and polling suggests she has an uphill fight against former President Trump. By a show of fingers, who thinks that she should stay in the race and continue to challenge former President Trump? Three of you do. Amy, why?
I mean, it really doesn't matter to me. I mean, but if she wants to fight it out, then give people another option. Give the Republicans another option. Unlike, the Democrats are just one, let's give everybody an option. People should have the right to decide.
Mary Beth?
Yeah, I mean, we're supposed to live in a democracy. So it shouldn't just be, two candidates from the get-go. There should be discussion, there should be options, there should be choices.
Okay. Susan, same reason or different?
Different reason. My mind just went blank. Just give me a minute here. Because I think competition brings out the best in people. It forces them into making more definite statements, into explaining their policies more, into answering questions, perhaps debating things.
Okay, got it. By a show of fingers, who thinks the Republican primary race has been rigged in favor of former President Trump? That by winning only Iowa and New Hampshire, he's more or less guaranteed to be the Republican nominee? Just one of you, Mary Beth. Okay. So, but let me push back. Just play devil's advocate with all of you for a second. He won 2 states. There are 50 states. You ladies are comfortable basically handing him the Republican nomination after winning only 2 states?
I don't feel like we handed it to him. The other guys got out of the race. If it would be
Exactly.
DeSantis, Vivek, I would have voted for Vivek. If they would have came here, I would have voted for him. They took themselves out of the race. I can't control who takes themselves out of the race.
Okay, but hold on a second. Nikki Haley's still in this race.
I don't like her. So I'm not gonna vote for her.
Okay, so basically you've discounted her in this.
Oh yeah, I wasn't gonna vote for her in the beginning.
Okay, but I guess what I'm trying to understand is for those of you, I guess some of you obviously are unhappy or would have been willing to see DeSantis keep going and Vivek keep going and so forth. So I get that. Okay, but now that they're out of the race and you still have a 2-person race between Trump and Haley, why are a lot of you seemingly willing to give Haley a shove out the door and giving the nomination to Trump?
She's not likable.
Okay, but
I get-
hold on a second. But Kathy, the Pennsylvania primary is in April.
Right.
So you basically, let me give a devil's advocate argument, which is Iowa and New Hampshire denied you your chance to choose who you can vote for in April. If you give Trump the nomination now and say it's all over, then you have no choice. Your vote is basically Trump or nobody, but if he's essentially the nominee right now. That doesn't bother you in any way?
No, not really.
Okay, why not?
Well, like she said earlier, they've already dropped out. They're no longer in contention, but I just don't like Nikki Haley.
Okay, so the thinking is, just make sure I understand this right. A bunch of them dropped out. You don't want Haley, so just like, okay, fine, Trump's the nominee again, I'm good. Is that a kind of where you are?
Yeah, that's where I'm stuck at because there's nobody else.
Got it. Okay. Rest of you, like, for the other people who are, Heidi, are you there? Are you in that frame of mind too? You're fine?
Well, I think our enemies aren't afraid that they know Trump's not afraid of them. I think any other candidate wouldn't have the backbone to go up against our enemies like Trump has.
Okay, so you're fine with Trump for that reason.
Yeah, one of the reasons I like his policies.
Okay, got it. So I also just want to get a sense with which political party you ladies are registered. So how many of you would say that you're registered as Republicans in Pennsylvania? Who's registered as a Republican? 4 of you are. Who's registered as a Democrat? Any of you? 1. And the other 2 of you are independent or unaligned?
Yes,
Independent.
independent.
Okay, great. All right, so my 4 Republicans are Kathy, Mary Beth, Amy, and Heidi. So I'm going to start off by doing some word association exercises. I'm going to mention a person, and I want to hear the first thing that comes to mind regarding that person. And Sarah, are you having an issue with the camera at all, or?
She wanted me to like move my camera, but I have a Chromebook, so I can't really make it go any forward, make it go more forward without it
You're
like
perfect
falling
right now.
over.
You're perfect right now, so if you don't touch it, you're.
Yeah, I'm
exact-
holding it. Okay.
Oh, wait, you're holding it. There's no
Yeah.
way. Okay, the holding is not going to work for an hour and a half.
No,
So why don't you, can you prop it up somehow?
I am. And
No,
Great.
against a book or something that's where it's on a table.
yeah, I'm gonna grab, let me grab a book.
Fantastic. Go do that. Wait. Hold on a second. It's perfect right now.
Yeah, right.
I need her on board for these questions, so that's why I'm hesitating here.
Sure. Good?
Perfect.
Okay,
Yeah, just bouncing around gets us a little bit, queasy. So thank you.
sorry.
That's all right. Thank you. All right, so let's go to some word association exercise. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to mention a person, and I want to hear the first thing that comes to mind when you hear that person's name. So don't overthink it, okay? And don't blurt it out loud. I'm going to call on you. So the first person I want to ask you about is President Biden. First word or phrase that comes to mind when I mention President Biden. So I'm actually going to go in reverse order from the way you introduced yourselves. I'm going to start with Christine.
Old.
Okay. Sarah,
Old.
Angie,
Mindless.
Michelle,
Mine was old also.
okay. Daisy,
Sleepy.
Jessica,
I hate a wuss. That's the first thing that honestly kind of came to my head.
that's fine. No worries. Helen
Slow.
and Lisa,
Old.
okay. Great. Next person I'm going to ask you about is former President Trump. What's the first word or phrase that comes to mind when you think about former President Trump? Everybody got one? All right. Okay. So let me start, Jessica.
Let's see, this is the worst. I guess it's the opposite of my last one, ballsy. I mean, not necessarily in a good way, but.
Fine. Helen,
Powerful.
Lisa,
Business.
Daisy,
Money.
Christine,
Comical.
Michelle,
Erratic.
Angie,
Conniving.
Sarah.
Confident.
Okay. Next one. Former Ambassador Nikki Haley. Sarah, why don't you go first?
I guess weak.
Angie,
I don't know.
you know, nothing comes to mind.
No.
That's all right. Michelle,
Aggressive.
Christine,
Refreshing.
Daisy,
Liar.
Lisa,
Power.
Helen,
Smart.
Jessica.
Different.
Okay. One more. Vice President Kamala Harris. Hey, Helen,
I really have nothing. I just never liked the woman, so useless. I'm not sure, but I'll just say useless.
okay. Christine,
I mean, yeah, I'm struggling. The first word that honestly came to mind was hate, but I hate using that word.
That was mine too.
Sorry, I hate using the word hate.
that's fine. I got what I need.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Useless as well.
Okay. Sarah,
A political pawn.
all right. Lisa,
Annoying.
Jessica,
Clueless.
Daisy,
Puppet.
Michelle.
Invisible.
Okay, great. We're done with the exercises and the word associations. By a show of fingers, who would say that on most days you pay close attention to the 2024 election? Show of fingers. Who says on most days you pay close attention to the 2024 election? So I got Sarah, Daisy, and Michelle, 3 of you. Okay. So the most likely election scenario at this point on January 31st is that Biden is running against Trump again in November's election. It's the most likely scenario. For a moment, let's imagine the election is tomorrow. By a show of fingers, how many of you would take Trump? Show of fingers, who would take Trump? The election is tomorrow.
What are our choices? Trump or Biden?
For the sake of this conversation, for right now, this question,
Okay.
it's Trump and Biden.
Okay.
So who would take Biden? I'm sorry, who would take Trump? Excuse me. Who would take Trump? So I've got basically everybody except Michelle.
Because I don't want either.
Okay, that's fine.
I figured we had to choose one.
You do have to choose, yes. So
You
if it's
do.
between Trump and Biden, who's taking Trump? 7 of you. Okay, all but Michelle. Lisa, why would you take Trump back?
I really found him to be a wonderful businessman. He didn't seem as shady as the other politicians, and I think this country needs a business person.
Okay. Helen, why would you take him back?
I just think he did a lot more for our country than any other president. And he takes chances, and I just really like him.
Okay. Daisy, why would you want Trump back?
I'm tired of spending so much money in groceries and just living in general. Just for the the economics part, 1, and 2, he kept us at peace with the whole world, regardless of what people thought that we were gonna have another world with him.
Got it. Okay. Is there any other reason other than the ones that Lisa, Helen, and Daisy mentioned for why you want to take Trump back, for the 7 of you who do? Any other reason?
I mean, the border, that's kind of, I don't know if that counts.
Sure.
Also,
Okay.
but the border situation.
Got it. Okay. Michelle, this is for you.
Mhm.
Is there any plausible scenario under which you would take Trump back? Plausible scenario.
Plausible. If he stopped acting out the way he does in public so often.
Okay. You think the chances of that are slim to none or likely?
Slim to none.
Okay. Got it. All right. So let me ask you ladies another scenario question. We're in a hypothetical world here right now. So by a show of fingers, who would take Nikki Haley over President Biden if they were running against each other in November and Trump was not in the race? Who would take Haley over Biden, assuming Trump's not in the picture?
I guess.
So I got 7 of you. So everybody, but so Daisy, not you, but everybody else. Sarah, you had your finger up? Yeah, you do it. Okay. So 7 of you take Haley over Biden. So I got one other scenario to ask you about, and this is going to be our one image to show you on the screen. So Cindy will put this up. Imagine the election is tomorrow, and in Pennsylvania, you got 5 choices as follows. So you've got President Biden, former President Trump, Robert Kennedy Jr., Cornel West, and Jill Stein. Those are your 5 choices, imagine. And the election is tomorrow. I'm going to ask you about who would vote for these folks. I'm going to call on the candidate. Raise your finger if you would vote for that person in this 5-way race. Okay? And again, pretending the election is tomorrow. How many of you would take Trump in this scenario? Hold on a second. Let me make sure I get this. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of you. Everybody, and Angie also. Okay, 7. Michelle, who are you taking in this scenario?
I guess I have to take Biden.
You would take Biden. Okay, great. Cindy, you can take that off the screen. Of the 8 of you, is anyone seriously considering not voting in November? Angie, tell me why you're considering not voting.
Because I don't like sometimes I think, like, what's the point? They all suck. But you've got like the worst of all the evils, you know?
Got it. Okay. So Pennsylvania is known as a swing state or a purple state. By a show of fingers, who thinks you know what that means? Pennsylvania is a swing state or a purple state. Who thinks you know what that means? So I got Jessica, Christine, Angie, and Sarah, 4 of you. Sarah, what does it mean? You're
I
muted.
mean, it means that we could go either way. We're not red, we're not blue. A lot of presidential candidates try and make their proclamations in swing states to try and get the vote in their favor.
Okay. The other three of you who said you knew it, was that what you were going to say?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. So for the four of you who answered yes, does knowing that Pennsylvania is a swing state cause you to take the act of voting for president more seriously than if you lived in a non-swing state?
No.
None of you? Okay,
In Florida, and it's the same thing. They're different feeling.
okay. But if let's say you lived, in New Jersey, which tends to be very blue, or you lived in, I don't know, Indiana, which tends to be pretty red. Would you take the act of voting as seriously if you live there as you do in Pennsylvania?
I would.
I would.
Okay, so it doesn't change anything for you. Okay, fair enough. So setting Michelle aside, because you were not as enthusiastic about voting for Trump again this year, for the other 7 of you, who would you like former President Trump to pick as his running mate? Anybody give me some names who you'd like to see him pick as his running mate? Daisy.
I need your help with the name. I have like the other guy that he was running to be a president too. He's a businessman.
Oh, Ramaswamy.
Vivek.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
All right. Who else?
I like Nikki Haley.
Yeah.
I'd vote for her for president, but if she can't get that, then
I
Okay,
would go with Vivek Ramaswamy. I like that he's young and he's a minority, and I feel like that unfortunately would give Trump a leg up.
okay. Why is it unfortunate it would give Trump a leg up?
I mean, unfortunate that
That much.
it feels like politicians have to use minorities to elevate their own platforms.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Who else besides Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley? Anybody else come to mind you'd like to see? Helen, you got anybody for me?
I was gonna say Nikki Haley.
Okay. Anybody
I
else?
don't know too much about all the others, so I'm just basing on who I know.
Okay. So I got Ramaswamy and Haley. Anybody else? All right, I'll take that as your 2 answers. Daisy, go ahead.
DeSantis, maybe too.
I don't like him to get him out.
Okay, got it. All right, so let me ask you this: how many of you would be upset if Nikki Haley is Trump's choice? Any of you be upset? One of you, Daisy. Okay. Great. So by a show of fingers and without saying anything, who could name at least one thing that President Biden has achieved while in office? Now, hold on a second. I want to make sure this is a straight up question. So I don't want you to give me a snarky answer like, oh, he achieved the worst, blah, 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 blah. No, I want an achievement that he would consider an achievement. Everybody got that? That's the task. By a show of fingers, who can name at least one thing President Biden has achieved while in office that you think he would consider an achievement? Lisa's got one. Sarah's got one. Anybody else? Daisy's got one. Okay, so I got 3 of you. Lisa, what is yours?
Actually, I'm taking that back. I don't have one. I heard Trump and not Biden. I'm sorry. I was not paying attention. I mean, I was paying attention, but I didn't hear it right.
This is what Biden has achieved in his 3 years as president. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, no, I got nothing.
Nothing. Okay. Sarah, you got something?
He's perpetuated the field of electric vehicles.
Okay. And that's a good thing from your perspective.
I didn't say it was a good thing. I just said it was something that he would deem as an achievement on his end.
Oh, got it. Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry. Thanks for clarifying that. Okay. So he would call that you're aware that he would say that's an achievement of his.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Daisy, what about you?
Sorry, my screen went out. I'm like with Sarah, he will say that unemployment, we are good. Our numbers are good, what is not true.
All right, thank you. So by a show of fingers, who agrees with the following statement? If President Biden is declared the winner of the election in November, it means the election was somehow rigged. Who agrees with that statement? If President Biden is declared the winner of the election in November, it means the election was somehow rigged. Who would say, who agrees with that statement? Sarah, Lisa, and Daisy. Okay. So Daisy, what do you think would happen, or how do you come to that conclusion that if Biden is declared the winner, that it's somehow rigged?
I feel like, behind the scenes and all the powerful people that manage the country are doing everything in their power for not to have Trump back. They already know what they're dealing with. His personality is not of a like of a politician. And they know like he can do so much damage for everybody, inside. So I feel like inside government, everybody, even his own party, is doing everything they can just to make Biden win again, sadly. But I think that's how it's going to happen.
And that includes rigging the actual election.
Yes. Maybe we get another mail voting, some sort. National sick day, you cannot go vote, you gotta mail your vote. I don't know. They will come with something,
Lisa, tell me what leads you to that conclusion? That if Biden wins, he's declared the winner, that it means the election was somehow rigged. How do you get to that conclusion? You're muted.
Sorry. I pretty much agree with that last statement. I just feel like everybody is so against Trump, and they're looking to do anything they can to just get him out of office completely, that the shady politicians are just gonna figure something out, and yeah, the mail's gonna get messed up again, or Florida doesn't know how to count, or whatever the case might be.
Okay. And Sarah, same as Daisy and Lisa on that, or a different reason why you'd come to that conclusion?
I just don't understand who in their right mind would continue to vote for somebody who isn't able to walk up and down a flight of stairs. I mean, he would be the oldest president. He is the oldest president we have now. Like, I really don't think that he's mentally fit. And I don't think that he has delivered on the majority of what he promised, one being student loan relief. So I don't know why you would continue to vote for somebody who has done nothing.
Got it. Thank you. All right. So let's talk about the Republican primary season, which just started a few weeks ago. So as you may have heard, former President Trump won both the Iowa caucuses and the New Hampshire primary. The only other candidate remaining in the Republican primary race is Nikki Haley. And polling suggests she has an uphill fight against Trump. By a show of fingers, who thinks she should stay in the race and continue to challenge former President Trump? Show of fingers. Who thinks she should stay in the race? 7 of you do. Okay. Michelle, why should she stay in the race?
Just so we have another choice. Even though other Republicans were going up against him, I think everyone knows that it's just going to come down to him. And I actually feel like they are all afraid of him because they're afraid of the repercussions of, if they're not with him, what happens when he actually becomes president again, if he does.
Okay. Angie, why should
I agree with that.
Go ahead.
I agree with what Michelle said.
Okay. Anybody have a different reason other than what Michelle and Angie said for why Haley should stay in the race? No other reason? Basically what they said.
I think she can just speak her reach more people, explain her platform, and just build, you know, her supporters. Because if she does ultimately get chosen as the vice president, then we'll be more familiar with her.
Daisy, what about you?
I think it's always good to have competition to show, like at the end, if he ended up, you know, winning against her, just to show, you know, it wasn't just him, and show like how really like the people is with him.
Got it. Thank you. So by a show of fingers, who thinks the Republican primary race has been rigged in favor of former President Trump? That by winning only Iowa and New Hampshire, he's more or less guaranteed to be the Republican nominee. Show of fingers, who feels like the primary election for the Republicans has been rigged in favor of Trump? And any of you agree with that? None of you. All right, so let me push back a little bit. We have 50 states. He's won 2. And he's already being crowned as the Republican nominee at the convention this summer. How is that not rigging?
Didn't he just get banned from the Georgia primary?
Well, okay. Let's say, but we've had 2 states vote. And a lot of people are saying Trump's the nominee. Does that trouble any of you?
Well, they're just looking at the polls and looking at his, you know, percentage. And they're just going with the odds.
Okay, so they're not actually crowning him the next nominee. They're just looking at the polls and saying he's likely to become the nominee after all is said and done. Is that what you're saying, Christine?
Yep.
Okay. Anybody want to take exception to what Christine said? Anybody see it
Honestly,
different?
I think if the Republican Party could like tar and feather him, they would, because I don't think they like him either. I mean, I feel like if he was really going to nominate them, there would be a lot more people championing him.
Okay. So you think the Republican establishment has it out for Trump?
I
They're
think that's what it seems like.
Okay. For anybody you put in that category, who are you thinking of when you think of people like that?
I think I'm thinking of like hardcore, like Ron DeSantis, folks like that.
Okay, got it. Okay. I just want to circle back, Sarah, on the question for you. You mentioned that you get your news mostly from NPR. Why NPR?
I don't know. I listen to it on Alexa. It gives me the news that I listen to. I'm not a big fan of reading news. I like to listen to it when I'm doing things.
Okay. Do you think it's politically biased one way or the other?
Oh, I'm sure it is, but it's biased in what I like.
Okay. Got it. Thank you. All right. So now I want to just take a little sense of the 8 of you in terms of which political party you're affiliated with, Republican, Democrat, or Independent. So by a show of fingers, who in this group is a Republican? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of you. Wait, hold on a second. Everybody except Helen and Michelle, right? Okay, 6. Who's a Democrat? Any of you? Michelle and Helen. Okay, 2.
Not a proud one.
Not a proud one. Okay. And no independents. Great.